Hey, Dan Passarelli here. Well, last week we talked about a couple of things. Well, last week and the week before we talked about a couple of things. One was when the VIX was pretty low and the S&P 500 was pretty up, that it might not be a terrible idea to look at buying some hedges. And another thing we talked about was covered calls and how now is not really a bad time to be doing them. Well, over the past 5 days prior to this session, we had some red candles. We had the market trading lower in session worries. And today the market was trading just a little bit down before the open, a little bit down after the open. We ended up eking out a teeny smidge up on the day. But that brings me to a really good and important point. So for anyone who has been watching our videos, and if you did look into protective puts, here's the thing with protective puts that so many people forget about, that they only really work if at some point you sell them and take the profit on those puts to offset the losses on the stocks or ETFs, right? If you just hold them and then the market goes back up, it just ends up being an insurance cost and you end up actually underperforming the market. Now, it's really hard to time the exact best time to get out. Don't get me wrong. You're never going to sell those insurance puts out at the bottom, but you have to do it at some point. So that's something to keep in mind. Remember, we'll see where the market goes from here. We are still below all three major moving averages, so there could be more room to the downside. It's a little bit of a pivotal day here. There is some support here. Furthermore, with covered calls, same thing, right? The reason why covered calls can work so great in markets like this because it, climbs up a wall of worry and down a slope of hope, or up the stairs and out the window, as they say, right? So we can sell these calls, sell these calls, sell these calls. And when we get, 5 down days in a row like this, we can buy back those calls really, really cheaply and then make our decision of whether to cycle through another cycle of covered call selling or not. So really important lessons. Today was a great day to bring up those lessons. I hope that helps. This is Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart.